Greetings. This morning was interesting. I was, I've been to a few chat rooms before, as you can kind of guess, and I even moderated in three of them. Okay? But I noticed that these people were very worldly, is the best way to put it, right? And I couldn't find myself going there anymore. It just wasn't for me, right? Uh, most of my life, I wasn't for God, right? I wasn't. I didn't know anything about Him, right? Yet the interesting thing is, God was always there for me. I mean, I was in the one chat room. It was my second time being there. Some nice people. And one of the moderators commented that she took a look at my page at one video and thought it was powerful testimony. So she must have been looking at my nitro patches video that I have there, right? 5 fields worth a day, and that was 3 months supply. And just like that, no pills, no patches, no nothing, thanks to Jesus, right? He also did a bit more than that. He healed my multiple concussions because I had over 30 of them. I couldn't remember pretty much anything. If you'd asked me, what did you eat 2 days ago, or did you eat? I wouldn't have been able to remember. I had forgotten. I couldn't remember anything. Right? I thought it was 34. I know it was over 30. I think it was around 34. But does it matter really when you're that high? The whole thing is, though, God healed that, and I can remember everything. Everything. You've forgotten language, the whole 9 yards, you name it. I can remember it. Okay? That's a rather interesting thing. I'm kind of scared to use this memory. I've reflected back on a few things, but I mean, like, wow, beyond anything I'd ever expected for. Now, the lady thought that one was cool, and it is, but that's only a drop in the Olympic swimming pool or small lake or whatever you want to call it. The Lord was watching me and protecting me my whole life, and I didn't even know it. When I was young, I had my body covered in stripes. Okay? I got beat a lot. Okay? Made some mistakes and everything else, right? What else is new? I didn't have anybody telling me about Jesus, nothing. And I had many moments. If I actually went down and one by one and did a testimonies video, I couldn't do it in one video. It's impossible. It actually have to be a series. Because the only thing I think of is part one of it, put a question mark, honestly, because there's so many times God was there and I didn't even know it until after. And that's quite recently when I was reflecting on my past, right? God was there and I didn't even know it. And it wasn't just me. He's out there for you and many others out there. You run into somebody and you're on your way there, and then to delay you for a moment, whether it's a stranger, something to stop you for a moment, and then you get on your path. But had they not stopped you, you might have been in an accident, or there's an accident or something going on around the corner. You avoided an accident by not being there. There are so many different ways that the Lord helps people, and most of them don't even realize it. Right? Most of them don't even realize it, but He does it all the time. One time I'm in the middle of nowhere, out in British Columbia, where the animals hadn't even seen a human before. Because a lot of parts of BC nobody goes into. They mainly live on the bottom and up that road towards Alaska, right? Otherwise, Yukon and Alaska. Otherwise, it's the whole middle section, there's nobody there. And I had animals walking by me that never even seen a human being before, because they came up right close to me, right? And no, I didn't shoot them, by the way. But I wake up to the smell, and I'm in the sleeping bag, and I look, and there's the butt end of an elk standing over my head, right? And I know, weird as it sounds, I was thinking, don't pee or poo on me, don't pee or poo on me. That's the only thing I was thinking for a moment as I'm looking down there, and I see its head way past my feet, right? It was eating some tobacco a friend of mine had left open. This is like 78, 79. And there's my friend. I could see him by the river getting some water for the coffee pot, and he left it open. And it was only after I realized, whoa, if he steps on me, I'm a dead man. Because you only got to walk 2-3 weeks back to civilization when you're healthy, right? Try doing it when you've been stepped on by one of those things. That was the biggest elk I'd ever seen in my entire life. I thought it was one of those prehistoric elk or something from the middle of nowhere because obviously they must live and grow big there because there's no humans or anything around, is what I thought. And when you got deer walking a couple of feet away from you and all these animals walking by you like they didn't know what you were, weren't afraid of you, right? I didn't know what to think at the time, right? I was young and stupid, as you kind of guess, but I had never in my whole life seen an elk that big before. Biggest rack I'd ever seen. Well, it shuffled both feet on each side at the same time, right? It knew I was there until it cleared me. Then it walked a little bit, turned, and bowed its head as a thank you for the meal. One of those take your breath away moments. That very same afternoon, I had a rapids to cross, and I didn't quite end up where I wanted to, as you can kind of guess, with the man I was with, right? We got washed way, way, way downstream. It was really bad rapids. But we didn't think, why was the water so bad? And we didn't realize there was a storm up ahead. But I don't know if you ever saw the movie Hacksaw Ridge. If you do, and you see that part where they're climbing that cliff area, I didn't have no net. I didn't have no fancy gear, no nothing back then, right? Full pack on my back with my buddy. We're going up, right? And the storm came. It was super, super bad. Is the only way to put it. Like Elijah on the mountain, right? Thunder, lightning, wind, and the rain was so hard you couldn't look up and see anything. It's like looking at the up in the shower head and the water pushing down. It's all blurry. You can't see anything. All you can do is stare right in front of you. So you know if you go down, clearly flash flood going on there. You drown, you're dead. You're dead. That's it. You can die trying to go down. So the only way to go was up. And I was talking to God that time. And even though I didn't really know, I said, well, hey, if I run into you, at least you know I tried to get to the top, right? And I didn't give up because it was howling. You couldn't stay there, hanging onto the side of a cliff, sheer cliff, straight up, right? And up we went. And I said that I wanted God to be proud of me and I wasn't a quitter, and I at least tried because God wants you to try. He doesn't want people to give up. He wants you to get back up. If you fall down, get back up. Don't just lay there and whine, right? Like some do, right? He wants workers for the field, not babies. I learned this recently, so okay. Well, God, that was 78 I'm talking about. So the last couple of years, you can say, has been very interesting for me. But there are so many other times. I was in many industrial accidents, hit by forklifts a few times. So ouchies are the thing that comes with them is the best way to put it. You get used to broken things and all that. I could pop a whole handful of painkillers and it not even faze me. And I was so messed up, so many broken things on me and scars all over my body. I don't take a single painkiller. I haven't for a while. I just sit back and hurt. They weren't for me. I'm allergic to most heart meds, by the way. Over 99% of heart meds I can't take. So that meant having a heart problem was a real challenge for me, and the only one keeping me alive was God, right? Sure wasn't the quacks. They wrote me off March 9, 2006. Say I had a week left to live, and I told them off. And I said, Jesus is the only one that decides whether I live or die. You guys are just practicing medicine. When you get it right, give me a call. And I walked out of there, and I walked a couple of miles home. One heart attack after the other. And again, I talked to God. I said, hey, I know I don't really talk to you too much, but just in case I might run into you soon, hey, I'm trying to get home and trying to do the best I can, and thank you for the life I had, and I'm sorry if I messed it up. Okay? Well, after that, God gave me a little bit of an experience and showed me a few things. And wow, right? That's for another one, because that's a bit powerful, right? And I don't know how many of you can handle it, right? But God showed me a few things and just blew me away, right? And that's when I got into trying to help the people get off drugs and different things like that, and I really got a bit more motivated. But I mean, they tried to kill my cats about 9 years ago. I got used to getting robbed as some of these people get off drugs, right? And one guy, I got him a dealer to quit dealing drugs, and his suppliers came along, and they didn't like that he wasn't going to do it anymore, so they ran him over a few times, right? They just decided that, well, there are people out there that don't want you to get others to quit doing drugs or selling them, so just you get a negative view from some of these people, I guess is the way to put it. And I got robbed a lot. And when they broke in, and I was only across the hall for a few minutes, tossed my place, robbed it, and it took my one cat, and they broke his ribs, and his son that was still a younger kitten at the time, about not even a year old, right? Maybe I was under 6 months old at the time, and they cut his throat. But praise God, he didn't take them, and he let me nurse them back to health. Any vet would have put him down, but I didn't. And I nursed him, cradled him, let the water drip off my fingers, the whole 9 yards, right? I love them so much. And I was praying for them, like you would not believe, right? And God showed great mercy on me. Louis was my Medicat. Got him when he was really young at a pet store. They were going to kill him, so I brought him home. He wasn't of age to be there anyway, and they had him with some other kittens. And he said, "Oh, he run a litter," and anybody with half a brain could tell he wasn't from that litter, right? And way too young to be there. And when he was just a few months old, he started watching the clock, and he didn't like the sound of the alarm for me to take my meds and change my patches and that. And so 5 minutes before the clock would go off, he turned around, moved the blanket, and started poking me. And he started doing that on a regular basis, so I didn't use the clock anymore and became my Medicat. He was so smart, and he saw how sick I was. He would go into the bathtub by himself without me teaching him nothing, and he'd wiggle up right to that little hole and go pee right in the very hole of the tub. No joke. And only do the other business in the litter box to make life easier for me. He was a true blessing in my life. And his son, Louis, passed that last March, right? March 2nd, 2017. Right? Now, his son, Little C, just before Louis passed, I was laying there in bed. And honestly, by my right arm, I was pulled right up to where, your butt crack is, right? That butt crack part and down was on the bed. The other half is straight up by my arm, straight up in the air and being held up. And Little C jumped on my chest, started hissing and scratching at that invisible demon that was pulling me off the bed. And it let go, and then like a teeter-totter, top part of my body went down because I had a Little C on my chest, right? And it left. But I tell you, you hear those things in a movie and you're not sure if they're real. Well, let me tell you they are, right? Boy, that creeps your creep, right? But you can tell I was doing a lot of praying then, right? And I'm having faith in the Lord. And since He's healed me March 12th there, I've had His inner peace and calm on me. Last year, when my cat was passing, I was really grieving a bit. And I had the Holy Spirit come on me. And for like 3 or 4 months, 24 hours a day, nonstop, I had His peace and calm on me. During that time when my cat was passing, a little just before and then after, so I wasn't grieving. And I knew that my cat was there with God. He was a special one and put there for a reason, right? I'm mainly a dog person, right? And I got blessed with some really good smart dogs, right? I went a little overboard on training. On one I had several languages, hand signs, and that. And for want of a better word, she was an attack dog on steroids. I taught her hands and feet, how people can, distract you in one way, and I taught her to fight a little bit. And she would walk beside me on my right-hand side, my Shiba, right? And her head would be right by my knee. And she saw some people coming in front of me one day. There was 2 ladies walking. So she cut out in front just a little bit as we were walking, just sped up her pace just a little bit, cut in front of me, and then came back on the left side. She did that on her own, right? And she was truly awesome. I had a huge yard at the time with several trees and all that. With 2 lawnmowers, it took 2.5 tanks each to do my yard once. And so I had, rabbits come by there once in a while. And I'd give her, and then we'd see a rabbit, and I'd crouch her, and then I'd tell her to get ready, and then I'd make a noise to give the rabbit a head start, and then tell her go. And then just she's about to get it sometimes, I told her stop, or enough, and she stopped. I just really truly loved her, and I really miss her, and she's with God now too, right? But I was hurt, had a lot of time, and the dog liked to learn new stuff, so I kept on doing it. And she was incredible, but I tell you, she could fight like no tomorrow. Nobody'd catch her. I loved her a lot because I had gotten her from a breeder when she was young, and when she was 6 months old, I had my arm in a sling from an industrial accident, and I only had one good arm at the time, my right arm. So I'd gone to the store to get something, a little corner store, and I came back and I got in, I closed the door, and I got the one bag in my one hand, I picked it up. All of a sudden the door got kicked in by this over 300-pound black guy, right? And he said, "Give me your money, you white mutt." And before he could finish, my dog had him by the testicles, right? And he screamed, "Get it off, get it off." So I put down the bag, and with my only one good hand that I had, snapped my fingers, and she let go, backed up, and growled at him at 6 months old. From that day on, she ate good every day and always got a little bit of what I ate every day. She could balance a pizza on her nose. Biscuit got too easy. Try it with a pizza. And I would order pizzas and share them with her. I mean, she had special food made for her. My father was the only man who'd come in my house, period, only one, without it costing him his life. Because if I didn't open the door and you just walk in, it's your life. You can't go into the fridge because I was the giver, daddy's the giver of food. You come up behind me, you're getting growled, don't even think about it. She was truly amazing. My dad brought her but buckets of Kentucky Fried Chicken for her. He even made a huge pot of spaghetti, but not just your regular chicken. No, it had a couple of different kinds of meat in there, and it was really done nice. And it was enough. You know those plastic bags you get, shopping bags, right? Well, it was doubled up and full right up to the top. You could barely grab onto the handles. It was so full. Made fresh just for my dog, right? And he was the only one that could come in my house. My mother, who passed in October there, sadly, the end of October of last year, she tried to come one time. She used to see me a few times. I was open the door. She tried to come in one day when I wasn't, I was out at work, right? Because I said no point to locking my door with a dog like that, right? You can laugh and go, yeah, you no need to, right? And as she's opening the door, the dog was there, grabbed her blow sleeve and ripped it off. She wouldn't go back to my place unless I was there after that. But I had warned her. I'm laughing about it now. But I told her, don't walk in my door. The only one was my dad that the dog would let in, and I really do miss him. Yeah, I got beat a lot as a kid and all that, but later on in my adult life, right, my dad started getting closer, and sadly he passed at the beginning of 2002, right? And I was starting to build a relationship with him. I have no idea what this family bond thing really was because I never really had one, right? So I could see a lot of things that a lot of people take for granted in their daily lives, right? I never had them. I don't understand them, you know? But, such is life, right? We all have our challenges and our interesting moments. But God was there so many times when I didn't even know it, but I know it now. And like, how many times has God been there for you and you never know it? If you think back in your past, God has been there so many times with you. It's not just me, but there's so many out there that God has touched. Other people are being healed all the time. There are people out there right now standing in faith, laying hands on people. Because Jesus says you can do as I do. Right? Remember, He gave us all bags of gold and more. What have you done with your bag of gold, right? I'll do a testimony series one day. But the thing is, I have no idea how long it's going to be. And if I could have any recommendations from anybody, like, half-hour segments, or something like that, because there's so many times that God was there and did wonders and all manner of stuff, right? That I don't even know where to begin. That's how many times, right? Well, him fixing my memory sure helps me remember a lot of moments. That's the way to put it, right? Things I've forgotten decades ago. Our God is an awesome God who can do anything. Don't forgive him. Don't ever forget to give him the glory. He deserves it. He truly deserves it. And he loves you so much. If you haven't given your life to Jesus, give him a call now, before it's too late. Because until our last breath comes, we all have a chance to get right with God. Okay? And it's the best thing you'll ever do. Your life will never be the same, and you will know a joy that you've never known before. Think about it and give Jesus a call today. He's waiting to hear from you. Bye bye.